Okay, so now we're back, and I've made a few adjustments, and let's just tick that off, and added a few layers, but I'm going to take you through each one, so I'm not just going to dump them on there and expect you to know what they are. So first of all, I just raised my environment exposure at the back here, just so I can, it was down, just so as I can, sorry, not that one, my opacity, just so as I could see what it's like with a bit of colour behind it, and it kind of pops it out, which is quite nice. The other thing I did was I added a bit of bump to my paint layer. Can you see this? And what it does is it just pushes, it gives the paint a bit of thickness, which is really nice, and you can see that there. And to do that, you just click on your paint layer here, come down to your height, and just shift it a tiny bit to the right here, and it just raises it, gives you a bit of texture. You do it too much and it will look ridiculous, so you just want to give it a little bit of height. And when you're seeing it from afar, it looks pretty cool. It looks like your paint has got a bit of thickness. So I did that. My rust, I just brought the colour down a little bit more. Just played with that a little bit more, but that's up to you. That's very subjective. You can have whatever colour rust you want. So I did that, and you can see it's starting to work quite nicely now. And what else did I do? And I added these 3 layers. So let's go through one by one, and this will kind of start to finish it off now. So you should have your steel rough, your rust coarse, your paint layer, and your dirt layer. And what I want you to do is add an AO layer. I've put AO in there. It's not called an AO layer, it's just called a layer. So add a fill layer up here. Just click that. Come down here to where it says material and turn all of these off, except your ambient occlusion. Where it says ambient occlusion, click that and choose your ambient occlusion that you baked at the start over here and put it in that slot like that, and you can see it. You probably see it appear over your barrel like that. You want to change this where it says norm, change that to multiply, and UV scale, make sure UV projection is set to UV projection and not triplanar, because you want it to project straight onto the UVs of the barrel. And make sure this here is at 1, like so, and you'll see it. And if you turn it on and off, you can see it just pops the corners a little more. It just gives it that bit of depth. I really like that, and that's going to get baked into the textures when we bake it all down, and it puts it around the edges here. It's very subtle, but you can see it just adding to the contrast like that. You see, it's very subtle, but it works really well. Make sure your UV scale is 1 and your UV offset is at 0, because otherwise it won't fit. It's got to be, and you want projection to be UV projection, so it's using the exact UV layer that you set up. So that's that layer, AO, and just rename the layer like you did before. Just double click in there and call it AO. Simple. That's probably the most simple thing you could do. So that was that. That's what I added. That just gives it a bit more depth there. The next one was a burn layer. And all this was another layer like this that I painted into. I made it black almost, the paint color, almost black, and then I just started painting into it. Just to give the impression, to give the impression that it's burnt. inside the barrel, because you know it's been on fire for a while, and you know, the guy in the forest uses it as a fire pit. So you know, we want it to look like it's burnt basically. So you know, just add that to your layer and paint inside where the where it would be burnt. It's as simple as that, really. It's not complicated. Just be careful, because I've noticed if you paint on the inside, sometimes it comes through here, look, and it just, you know, so just be careful you don't it doesn't seep through too much in places, because you don't want that. Yeah, you can see it, the edges of the barrel probably need pulling in a bit more. So just, anyway, it's going to get covered in, I'm going to make a big log pile here and set it on fire anyway, so I shouldn't worry about it too much. You're not really going to see it by the time we've finished. You know, you want this just to come out over the edge, just so that you know, that's what it looks like. It looks burnt out. Looks like someone's been burning stuff inside this barrel. Yeah, so there we go. That was our burn layer. That's all I did, and on this let me see. I took my rough. Yeah, I made my metallic really low, because it's not metal. We don't want it shiny or anything, although that doesn't look bad, to be perfectly honest. You could have it a bit more like that, I guess. But your roughness right up, because you don't want it. You clearly don't want it shiny like that. You definitely don't want it. You don't want no specular on that. So just take that out. And you know, how much metalness or not you put in there is entirely up to you. Yeah, a little bit's alright actually. It looks pretty cool. Looks a bit more matte and burnt. I would probably work into that a little bit more now actually. Now I can see it like that. Yeah. So just work into that. Add your layer. You know how to do this. I've showed you how to add layers, and this is just a fill layer, and it's just a colour near black, or you know, close to black, and you're just painting it on top of the dirt and everything, really, because it's the last thing that's that's affecting the paint. So, and well, everything else in it as well. This is it. This is the burnt layer. So that's cool. I like that. So yeah, that's burnt out enough for mine. And then okay, so the final thing, we added a little symbol on here. If I turn it on, there it is, you can see, and that's quite simple to do. It's supposed to be paint worn out and distressed and what have you. This is quite simple to create, so all we do is create another layer, just a regular layer, like so, and yeah, so we add this, and down the bottom here where it says material, we just turn on the colour, leave everything else turned off, and we should be able to paint on there. And we just get one of these, and we adjust all our values, so we make it a decent size. And we can stick it on there like that. So we just, the flow, I don't think it really matters too much because we're not going to move it. Spacing again, it doesn't really matter. But if you're putting on a symbol that needs to be up the right way round, like one of these, you might want to just adjust it so that it is upside down. So okay, so to get the right orientation, just turn all these off so you're not getting weird rotations and sizes, and then just use this to adjust the orientation of your brush. If we get it down to 0, that should be about right, and then you can just neatly place it wherever you want it, like so, which is cool. And then you can add a mask layer to it, black mask, so it's gone, and then get your brush and paint it and just pull it out so it looks a bit rough, and use your eraser if you want to push it, push bits of it off again to get rid of some of them. Just rough it up. Go back into your layer and you can change the color of it, base color, make it you'll have to do it again, but you can change the color of it. You can even use the dropper here and make it okay. So you have to use the dropper, you have to press and hold, so you can make it the same sort of color as your barrel, and then just brighten it up slightly. Maybe just go over the top of what you've got there. Whatever you like. So it's quite simple to do. Just rub that out if you don't want it there. Put down a new one, like so. There you go. There you go. You've got a symbol, and that really is all I'm going to do to the barrel. It's enough. It looks cool. I'm going to get rid of that extra symbol I put on there. I'm just going to right click and remove the layer because I like my skull one that I did earlier. And that's it. That's our barrel done. I hope you like it. And now just save that. Save as steel barrel. Save. Yep. Right, and now if you want a different one, I quite like the idea of a yellow one. Just go down to your paint here, change your paint color. Simple. Change it to dynamic. It's like, oh, let's do yellow one. I want a yellow barrel. Oh, look at that. That looks very cool. I like a nice yellow barrel. Or a bit orangey. Let's put a bit of orange back in it. Yeah, look at that. And there you go. And then just save that. Save as yellow. Test. I did some test ones there. Replace it. In the next lecture, I'm going to show you how to get it into Unity. And all you have to do is spit out the maps. For each one of these, you can use the same normals, the same metal map and roughness map. And all you have to do is change the albedo. And you've got two different colour, in the material. Change the albedo in the material that we set up in Unity, and you've got two different barrels. How instantly quick is that? And it's, if you want more colours, just change your base colour. Spit out a new one, save it out, and you got another barrel quite quick. I'll show you how to do that in more detail in the next lecture. But for now, I think we're done. I think we're done with the barrel. And look at the texture we're getting on that. It looks fantastic. Just adding that bit of bump to the paint makes a lot of difference. You see how the light's capturing it. No, it's really nice. Okay, so that's it. I'll see you in the next lecture.